Hey folks, Garrett Fisher here. I need to tell you about this absolutely mind-blowing podcast, Acting President, that's been keeping me up at night. It's about James Bennett, a former governor starring in a hit Sunday night TV show about overthrowing the government, and then his actual former chief of staff approaches him to do it for real. The line between fiction and reality completely disappears when these course correction rallies start popping up everywhere. Is it brilliant marketing or something more sinister? The parallels are insane. Trust me, this is the political thriller you didn't know you needed in your life. Acting President, available now wherever you find podcasts.
Feeling overwhelmed by negative news? 5 Good News Stories is your daily dose of what's going right in the world. Like the 103-year-old granny who got caught speeding in her sports car because she was living life to the fullest, or the family who found their missing cat after 3 years when it showed up at their vacation rental. Remember Flop the penguin's incredible comeback after his injury? And that guy who broke the world record for most high fives in 24 hours while raising money for charity? These are the stories that remind us the world is still full of wonder and joy. 5 Good News Stories. Pure positivity 3 times a week. 5 Good News Stories, available wherever you get your podcasts. 5 Good News Stories.
Calaroga Shark Media.
Pope Leo the Fourteenth welcomed members of SSC Napoli on Tuesday morning, following the football club's Italian League victory on Friday, emphasizing that championships belong to teams rather than individual players. During the audience in the Clementine Hall of the Apostolic Palace, the Pope opened with humor about the delayed applause from Napoli's players and staff. Maybe they didn't want to applaud because in the media they say, "I'm a Romanista," Pope Leo joked, referring to Roma supporters. That's what the press says. Not everything that you read in the press is true. The Pope congratulated Napoli on their 4th Serie A title, calling it a great celebration for all of Naples. This is white smoke. Approximately 200,000 fans filled the city's streets on Monday, May 26th, for Napoli's victory parade following their 2-0 victory over Cagliari, with goals from Scott McTominay and Romelu Lukaku. Pope Leo emphasized how modern football recognition has evolved from focusing on individual player performances to acknowledging collective achievement. Today, however, we recognize that it's the team who wins the championship, the players, the manager and his staff, and the sports club as a whole, the Pope noted. This teamwork aspect represented what Pope Leo wanted to highlight most about Napoli's victory. The example of a team, in the broad sense, that works together, with individual talents put at the service of the whole. Napoli president and film producer Aurelio De Laurentiis presented Pope Leo with a number 10 Napoli shirt bearing the Pope's name and signatures from all club players, the same number worn by the late Diego Maradona during his time with the southern Italian team. "You're a number 10, De Laurentiis told the Pope, referencing the number typically worn by a team's most talented forward. When De Laurentiis introduced Napoli coach Antonio Conte, Pope Leo interrupted, saying, "I know him from the screen. I've seen him many times. Conte has coached Italy's national team, Juventus, Chelsea and Inter Milan. He's profoundly Catholic," De Laurentiis said of Conte. "He's someone who believes in God very attentively and goes to pray often." Pope Leo addressed sports' educational dimension, warning about commercialization's dangers. Unfortunately, when sport becomes a business, it risks losing the values that make it educational, and it can even become harmful from that point of view. The Pope particularly emphasized this concern regarding teenagers, appealing to parents and coaches to pay close attention to the moral quality of the sporting experience. What's at stake is the human development of young people, Pope Leo warned. The Pope concluded by thanking the squad for their visit and offering his blessing to team members and their families. He also shared greetings from one of his cooks. "Congratulations also from a lady who's been cooking for me recently and who is from Naples. She says, 'Congratulations. That's from Rosa. a big fan. Pope Leo cited the social aspect of Napoli's title, noting, "We know how popular soccer is in Italy and practically the entire world. So, in that respect, the social value of an achievement like this, which is greater than the mere technical sports aspect, is an example of a team that works together, in which the individual talents are sacrificed for the common good." The audience revealed that while Pope Leo follows Italian football closely, questions about his club allegiances remain deliberately ambiguous, contrasting with his predecessor Pope Francis, who was a card-carrying supporter of Buenos Aires club St. Lorenzo. The meeting with Napoli occurred less than 2 weeks after Pope Leo held a private audience with top-ranked tennis player Jannik Sinner, continuing his engagement with the sports world.
You can get this podcast completely ad-free right now. If you're on Apple, just click the banner that says Uninterrupted Listening, and you'll get your first month free. If you use Spotify or other podcast players, go to calaroga.com/plus. It's just $5 a month, and you'll get access to over 20 premium shows with no interruptions. Binge listen to new series like the political thriller Acting President, Signal Lost, where military secrets land on the wrong phone, and Pager Protocol, the thriller about exploding pagers in the wrong hands. Plus, enjoy daily shows like Palace Intrigue about the royal family, daily comedy news, and 5 daily trivia questions to test your knowledge, and White Smoke, taking you behind the scenes at what's happening right now at the Vatican. You also get all our hot shows like 5 Good News Stories. Enjoy your favorite content without any ad breaks. Remember, Apple users click the Uninterrupted Listening banner for your free first month, and everyone else head to calaroga.com/plus. Get ad-free listening today.
Evidence revealing that Pope Leo's ancestry reflects America's immigration legacy and complex racial history has continued surfacing since he recently became the first American elected to lead the Roman Catholic Church. The Family History Service Ancestry recently announced that a team led by senior genealogist Kyle Petit determined Leo, the 14th paternal grandfather, John R. Prevost, immigrated to the United States from northeastern Sicily. This discovery emerged as Leo used his inaugural address to world diplomats to declare that migrants' dignity must be respected. Some interpreted these remarks as indicating Leo may challenge the Donald Trump White House's policies seeking to restrict United States immigration generally. My personal narrative represents that of a citizen, descended from immigrants, who subsequently chose to emigrate, Leo the 14th told ambassadors at the Vatican. Information about Leo the 14th's Sicilian heritage surfaced partly through a 1940 form that Prevost, residing in Chicago then, was required to complete because he remained a foreign national without United States naturalization. The document, alongside other relevant genealogical records, indicated Prevost was born on June 24, 1876 in Milazzo, a town in Messina province, Italy, and named Salvatore Giovanni Gaetano Rigitano. The document referenced his arrival in New York aboard the steamship Perugia in May 1903, among approximately 4 million Italians, predominantly Sicilians like Rigitano, who immigrated to the United States between 1880 and 1915, seeking escape from poverty, political turmoil, and other hardships, Ancestry's research revealed. Rigitano eventually adopted John as his first name, anglicizing his birth name, and assumed his wife, Suzanne Prevost's surname. He taught Italian, French, and Spanish. Eventually, he resided in Chicago with his wife and family, according to his resume, newspaper articles, birth records, and census information, all examined by the Utah-based Ancestry. Petit stated that one of the Prevost's sons, Louis Marius, eventually married Mildred Agnes Martinez. Mildred's father, Joseph, was apparently born on the Caribbean island containing the Dominican Republic and Haiti. For a period, Joseph lived with Mildred's mother, Louise, in New Orleans' 7th Ward, a neighborhood stronghold for Creole people, a term used there to describe those of mixed race, according to other genealogists. The Martinezes, the future pontiff's maternal grandparents, at one time identified as black. However, by 1920, when racial oppression was widespread and often violent throughout the United States South, and not yet deemed unconstitutional by the country's federal Supreme Court, the Martinezes had relocated north to Chicago. Like other similarly situated American families, they changed their racial identity to white. Louis and Mildred Prevost raised 3 sons within the Catholic faith in Chicago, the youngest being Robert.
There's always something brewing behind palace walls, whether it's Prince Harry and Meghan Markle making headlines from afar, or Prince William and Princess Catherine quietly preparing for the future throne. I'm Mark Francis, and on Palace Intrigue, we cover every twist, turn, whisper and wink. From royal drama to daily gossip, follow Palace Intrigue wherever you get your podcasts.
You know the silhouette, the squint, the voice that cuts like a blade. Clint Eastwood isn't just a movie star. He's a myth, a mayor, a cultural fault line, and maybe the last great American icon. Eastwood Reloaded tells his story one chapter at a time. The hits, the flops, the chaos between the scenes. Because legends aren't born, they're built. Eastwood Reloaded. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
In Washington, D.C., power flows through information. But what happens when the most sensitive military intelligence in the world ends up on the wrong phone? In the halls of power, a national security advisor makes a fatal miscalculation. On the other side of the world, a special forces team walks into a perfectly orchestrated trap. When the dust settles, 4 American soldiers are dead, 3 more captured. And the most catastrophic intelligence breach in modern history is just beginning to unravel. Signal Lost, a 6-part podcast thriller about betrayal, courage, and the devastating consequences of a world where even our most guarded communications are never truly secure. When everyone is listening, nowhere is safe. Signal Lost. Available wherever you get your podcasts.